model, but it is 3% of your sales. And the minimum is $10 per day for a non-electric stall, and the minimum is $15 per day for an electric stall. So at the end of the day, multiply 3% times your sales for the day, and that will bring you to your total that you would enter on that form. That would be right here. And of course, but there is a minimum because the Missouri State Fair charges us rent, so we have to meet that minimum to pay the rent on that stall. Let's see. Annual membership fee is $80 once again. For those of you who already know that you'll be coming back to the market this year, you can pay that tonight if you want to, but anytime between now and when you start the market is great. This year, something new. I think we've given enough of a heads up, but we once we those token forms, we add those up, and then we issue you a check for those or a direct deposit by the 5th day of each month. And the payment service that we use has started charging us for paper checks. So they charge us a $2 fee for paper checks. So if you still want that paper check mailed to you rather than a direct deposit, then there'll be a $2 surcharge per month that will just back out of your fees. So it's really easy. Most of our vendors use the direct deposit. You get it faster. It's more assured that you're getting it.
Doesn't burn up in the mail truck.
Right. But he just said it doesn't burn up in the mail truck, and that really did happen.
Oh, 2 or 3 years ago, that mail truck burned up there on I-70.
Yeah. We discovered that several of our vendors had those on there. So anyway, it wouldn't burn up in a mail truck. That's good enough. So,
or don't accidentally throw it away with the first mail.
that has happened too, yes. So just going over the 2023 benefits for our vendors, that we have a wonderful market manager. We get the benefit of both Brenda and Amber this year. They're going to be working hand in hand as Amber transitions into the new market manager role. I have the utmost confidence that that will go great. We have, like I said, a fantastic volunteer board and staff. In our marketing, Brenda went over several of the things, but we have MailChimp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, market day updates. We have a daily texting system that goes out about 10 minutes before the market opens for those who have registered their cell phone number with us, that they get a reminder that the market is open today, which really helps remind a lot of people. We do the site visit albums that we post on Facebook and share and boost. We have a great relationship with local media. So the Sedalia Democrat will do regular columns, and KDRO, KSIS, KSDL, we're on there a few times this season as well. We have Teresa does the Little Sprouts Children's area every Friday, and it's so many of the kids. If we can get the kids excited about the market, their parents want to come to the market too. And not only that, but Teresa makes it a quality experience, that they're not just doing kind of mindless macaroni activities, that she really ties it into what local food is all about, sustainability. We had a program on butterflies. We've had programs on bats. We've had programs. Teresa, you want to?
Well, so I'll just tell you about this year's program. So
Yeah,
actually,
wonderful.
Master Gardeners are teaming up with me.
Wonderful.
So some help. And so we actually have Little Sprouts every Friday, okay? But the first Friday of the month, we have a big program that the Master Gardeners will be helping out with. And so this year, the theme is going to be where and how does it grow? And so we're going to take food that kids were late to. Last year, I had a little activity shoot they did, and I figured out, or the kids did not know where French fries came from. Okay? So this year we're going to start out, they're going to grow. I'm going to have to get some help from some social media people, but they're going to grow beans, a bush bean in a container, and so I put a little pea pot, And then I'm gonna have them do a hashtag for farmer's market, so we can see how they grow all year. So they get to see how they grow beans. Matt and Kim are gonna do carrots and aquarium for me for June. Marley's gonna put potatoes in aquarium for me for July, so kids can see how those
The
grow.
aquarium is over there?
Yes.
Okay.
And so like for potatoes, then we'll talk about how we make french fries out of potatoes. And then we've got sweet corn in August, trying to think, apples in September, and pumpkins in October.
Wonderful.
So then you will fill in the other Fridays with those.
Matt was bugging me, did you have something for May?
For you?
For May.
Oh, for May? Yes, that's the beans. That'll be the
Okay,
first one.
because Richie came up with, we're inoculating new shiitake logs this spring.
We cut about 90 logs.
Wow.
So if, we were thinking if you wanted to do a demonstration at one market of how we do our shiitake logs, so we could probably even force some of our old logs to have fruit on them at that time. If you want to do that, we'll talk
Let's
about
talk
it.
about that, because the more things we get, so for the first one, we always kick off with kids planting something, with their hands dirty, because they like that experience, so we'll have tons of dirt there, so they can actually
I
follow
love
their
doing
plan.
dirty with mushrooms.
Yeah, well, so I think we can add that, and so what I
We'll
found
talk about
out
it
is
for
that,
some, not, yeah.
that the kids things, we think it's little kids, there's as many adults interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Teresa, thank you so much for all you do with that. It makes a big difference at the market. And also creates lifetime customers for us, we hope. We also work very hard to get musicians, and we pay them in tokens and treats from the market. But if you know anybody that would be well suited to be playing at a farmer's market, we're always welcoming of that. We had Doug Kellis with us many times last summer. He was fantastic, had a great sound for the market. We have had a couple over the years that weren't maybe such a great fit for the market, but so we'd like a little bit of a demo tape beforehand, but please send them our way. We have the Grasshopper phone system, which is that centralized number that we talked about, which eases the communication and makes us more efficient. We help with search engine optimization. That means that we can help people find you when they're looking for you on search engines. Now that COVID is kind of hopefully in the rearview mirror, that we'll have more cooking demos and food tasting and recipes. And like I said, we have that sink that a grant paid for, that 4-basin sink. And also we ask you to help us please find daily sponsors. The daily sponsor is a table that's set up right at the entrance to the market and highly visible, so anybody that wants to get their name out there, it's a beautiful way to do that. And even, actually, if you as a vendor want to be the daily sponsor and take that spot, you're welcome to do that. But it's a great way to increase visibility. We've had insurance agents, we've had like the Alzheimer's Association, the public library was doing library cards. So we'd like to get every day for the market filled if we possibly can. So you know somebody that can benefit. And we also want to thank, and we have strong partnerships with the Missouri State Fair, of course. Bothwell Regional Health Center and MFA Agri-Services have been sponsors since we were founded 15 years ago. Brian Jenkins State Farm Insurance has sponsored our opening day for the last 3 years, and he says he'll do that again every year, so we can welcome him again. We're members of the Missouri Farmers Market Association. Brenda, Amber, and I just went to their conference on Monday. It was a great session. The Farmers Market Coalition, you all can be members of Missouri Farmers Market Association and the Farmers Market Coalition. They are a wealth of resources, whether you're a vendor or a market or market manager, that they have libraries worth of information about how to market yourself, food safety, advocacy in laws that affect you, et cetera, et cetera. So I strongly encourage you to go online and find those organizations. The Missouri Department of Agriculture has specifically the Missouri Grown program, and that is another thing that you can become a member of. And they also have their big booth featuring local foods at the Missouri State Fair. Great to work with. We also have a partnership with University of Missouri Extension Agribusiness. We'll be meeting with him here in a month or so. And then University of Missouri Extension Nutrition. So we've had them come to the market several times and talk about giving recipes and how to can and et cetera, so that consumers can use your products year round. So now we would like to open it up for any questions? Yes.
The cost for that sponsorship for the table up front?
Yes, I believe that, I didn't bring the packets, but I do have the packets made. And I believe it's $75 in the shoulder season, and I think it's $125 during our high season, which is June and July and August.
You mentioned Artisan Day.
Yes, that's another thing. So we have, especially after the pandemic, we had a lot of people that took up a hobby, and artisans and crafters just exploded. So we are primarily a food market, but we also wanted to help our local artisans and crafters and make that a more of a festival type event. So First Fridays are the time that we feature the artisans and crafters, and it's just a $25 per day flat fee for the artisans and crafters, and we make it more of a festival atmosphere on that first day. It really allows the customers to know what to expect. This is the First Friday Artisan and Crafter event, and so we can attract a larger crowd for those folks that are doing those types of products. Yes.
Do you have to like sign up ahead for that so you know how many artisans you're having or that kind of thing?
Yes, we need to know beforehand, so don't just show up, but you still need to apply because we do vet. We found that we accidentally let someone in last summer that wasn't a good fit for the market. I just kind of trusted that, given the phone conversations we had, that it would be a good thing, and it turned out it wasn't. So we decided we don't need to visit your site, but we do need photos of what it is that you're producing and an application. Yes.
Can you talk about fees? Fees,
What else?
like fees, like to get into them, like, are we gonna talk about the cost of the application, the fees for the daily vending fee? Did we talk about that already? We did, sorry.
Yeah. Does anybody have questions on the fees?
Sorry if I missed that.
I think you were busy, doing
Probably,
something I already
yes.
asked you to do. I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay, but
no,
just to
that's what I
recap, it's $80 membership fee. That's required when you submit your application. That's your annual membership fee, and it covers from the 1st of May all the way through April 30th. So we can promote you all year round, and then it's 3% of your daily sales with a minimum of $10 for non-electric and $15 for electric stalls. Marla.
The $25 first fee, is that just for us crafters, or does everybody, even the food people,
No,
pay that $25?
right, no, it's just for,
More
just a
It
simple
wouldn't
fee structure for the artisans and crafters, yes.
Yeah, Marley, it wouldn't be you anyway.
It wouldn't be
Yeah,
you
you're-
anyway.
She's just talking about, like, go ahead. You
Right,
can
well, your
say.
grandfather did, Marla,
Okay,
since you've
appreciate
been
it.
with us so many years, but, yes.
Like artisans wouldn't have that annual, that $80, would they? Or would-
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yeah, just
artisans would just be the flat 25,
Flat 25.
not the
correct.
80.
That's correct.
For the artisan application, what's the criteria for that?
Well, you have to produce what you sell. We're still giving
I
preference
mean,
to
just pictures you were saying for
Yes,
what you're gonna
uh-huh.
sell.
Pettus and contiguous counties, yes.
Okay, I mean, does that have to be under a business or,
No,
okay.
yeah.
Joyce had a question.
Joyce.
Would you address 12F about the required days of?
Yeah, so we're trying to get a better feel for, Joyce is asking about a new rule 12F. Do you have it there, Amber, that you could?
I don't, hold on a second.
Page 5.
So this is the wording that we have right now. Yes, so a new thing on the application this year is we asked you to indicate which days that you plan to be at the market. For some, that's simply as simple as indicating, like for Vicky, every Friday. But Vicky also likes to take vacation at a certain time, and maybe once or twice during the year. So if you know already Vicky, then we'd like to know, like, these are the days that Vicky's gonna be on vacation. And one of the reasons for that is that, like, Ellen makes pies too. So if Vicky's not gonna be there on a Friday, that we can tell Ellen, hey, Vicky's not gonna be here. If you wanna increase the number of pies you're making, or Joe and Marty wanna increase the number of fried pies they're making because Vicky's not gonna be there, then we try to anticipate that as far in advance as possible so that we can give everybody that edge. But also, when we're vetting vendors, we really want to know what it is that you expect of yourself for that season. So, you know, like Matt and Kim want to be as year-round produce growers as they possibly can be. So they would indicate like every Tuesday and Friday is what their plan is, but they also may know of a vacation day already during the summer, and if they know what those dates are, we'd like them to go ahead and indicate that again so we can let other vendors know. But then we have some vendors that are going to be highly seasonal, like we've had a peach grower already turn in their application, and they circled every day between the end of June and the beginning of September is what they anticipate. So we don't expect that you're going to know exactly what days you are going to be there, but we want to know what days you would intend to be there, and that way we can, it helps us when we're vetting the vendor applications, because we really need produce, and we want to be sure that we have it as many days as possible. Yes, Marley?
And the missing the 10% or more is of what you circled, correct?
Right, yes, exactly. So missing more than 10% of planned markets during the season may, and the big word there is may, result in loss of good standing with the market. And that's subject to the board discretion. So again, early and frequent communication is expected. If you have a crop failure, you can't help that. You know, it's just one of those things that, but again, we want to know what you intend so that we can anticipate what holes we may have in the market, in our product mix. Does that make sense? Other questions? Benita?
Do you want to touch a little bit on the showing up, so because of Teresa having to deal with parking vehicles and the customers and stuff about coming early? I mean, I know that's new in the rules, but you might bring.
Yes, yes, I
That's
do.
going to be enforced this year more
Than previously.
than previously.
Right, we asked everybody to be set up by, what did we?
2:30.
2:30.
Right, not set up, but in your parking space.
yeah, in the
Not like
parking
whole
space.
market,
Yeah,
but yes,
pulled
be
in.
pulled in by
Yes.
2:30.
We want you to be pulled into your space and setting up, and like Brenda said, we're gonna start doing that Facebook Live at 2:50 to give you the best impression of the market possible. And so that is to not only to help market you, but also for safety reasons. We have a lot of customers that start coming around 2:30. They want to browse, which is great, have an idea of what they're going to buy. But we also don't want vendors trying to drive in at the same time we have customers that are walking around. So we ask everybody to be in their stalls by 2:30. And again, sometimes things happen. There's a flat tire, or you forgot your cell phone, or whatever. Call us and let us know, and we'll make a concerted effort to accommodate you. We're not inflexible. We're extremely flexible, but 2:30 is the time.
So you can show up anytime prior to 2:30. I mean, not
Yes.
anytime, but.
Yeah, we
within
normally
reason.
get there, most vendors get there around 2, some a little earlier. If you're Bonita, you're there a lot earlier.
They're also, they'll be, day 4, they'll have a chart, you'll get a chart of
Get that
how
vendor
the vendors are gonna be set up.
Right, okay.
So you have an idea where you're gonna be at when you
Right.
get there.
Okay.
Well, and like during peach season, there's like a line that will extend the entire pavilion. So when you're trying to park people, it's like parting the Red Sea of
Yeah.
customers trying to get people into those spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
And somebody is gonna eventually get hit, which is why, and that'll be a huge problem for the market. So
Right.
it's just, more important, I guess, even if you don't need the full 30 minutes to set up, to just be where you're,
Try to mitigate it.
yes, exactly.
And once you get there the first time, at first you drive in there, it's a little overwhelming, but there's a system, and after the first couple times, it just falls in place.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and we'll point vendors where they need to go. That's usually Teresa. Yes.
How big is a typical space?
I think that the frontage is 12 and a half
Yeah.
feet, and I'm not sure of the depth, but it's plenty for.
It's like 10 or 12 feet. I
Yeah,
think
we'll
is what
always
it
tell
is.
the vendors, because there's scored lines in the concrete, and we'll just always point out, this is where we want the front of your table to be, so that it's a nice looking, neat market.
You don't need a tent, I don't know that we need to mention that, but we're in a
No.
pavilion, so you don't need to have a tent.
Only time you don't need it is when we go downtown.
Yeah, if we go downtown,
There.
a tent, yeah, are we requiring them to have downtown? I don't know that we've really talked
No,
about
most people
that.
do want one, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you, when you use a tent, you need to plan for 30 pounds of weight on each leg, secured weight on each leg.
Tablecloths or stuff like that?
Yes, we highly recommend tablecloths. Again, like Brenda said, it's your business, so you want to present as well as you can. Highly recommend tablecloths that either have a very small print or checkered or a solid. There's a lot of cute, like farmers market-y tablecloths out there, but they make your booth look so busy sometimes
Right.
that it's hard to actually feature the product. So you want a tablecloth that's really going to make your products pop.
Okay.
If they pay their fee tonight and they're not accepted, we refund that, correct?
Right, if you pay your fees, I would, if you haven't been vending at the market already, I'd say hold off on paying your membership fee. It's just a lot cleaner than us having to turn around and refund it, so, so just hold off. But if you insist on paying it tonight, you can, over with Amber and Brenda.
So I wanted to say, I'm sorry again but some things I wrote down. If you guys are gonna accept credit cards this year, it's pretty easy to set up.
Highly suggest.
I highly suggest, I would also highly suggest if you decide to do that you have like a Visa MasterCard sign somewhere on your table so that people know you accept. There is a fee, there's a percentage that goes with that. The market graciously accepts debit cards at their table for people to go and use to swipe to get tokens. But I have found that people buy, and I'm sure Benita will say the same thing.
They buy more.
I will get people to buy more. They'll walk around and say, oh, I'm all out of cash, and I'll say, that's good, I take credit. And they're very quick to then, instead of walking all the way to the tent.
With Square, it's
Square is what I'm using.
10 cents per transaction.
I don't know.
10 cents plus
look.
2.6%, I think.
Yeah.
2 point,
So
so it's
just
about 3%.
Consider, I guess, for those new vendors coming in. And then she mentioned earlier that we don't start selling until the 3 o'clock bell, which is correct. But if you have pre-sales or like CSAs, you can let your customers take those. So if you have like a website, like we have a website, they'll buy from us prior because they know they can only run it quick and grab and go. You can do that. That's not against the
Right.
rules.
Yes, that is true. We ask you to do that discreetly, though.
Yes.
Because some people won't understand, and even if you can have like that customer's name stapled to the bag,
It's like smuggling out
Well,
of the
yeah, like it's so obvious that this person, that's specifically for them, and that we weren't running a special deal.
Correct.
So,
The only other thing I want to say, just because some of you are accepted, and we've not always done a super great, but I know this year we're really trying to, again, if you're doing eggs, you're required to have an egg license. If you are a meat handler, you're required to have like those certifications. If you are using your scale, it has to be a certified scale. You all have to have liability insurance. You have to have a copy of your liability insurance with your application. So those are all going to be things that when we sit down with the vendor committee and do that, we won't need it then, but before you can start vending, we'll have to come out to your farm, they'll have to vet, and then they'll also have to have those things on file with you guys. So if you are considering it, just make sure that you guys are considering the cost of those things as well with that. Sorry, I'll be quiet now.
that's good, thank you, it's very helpful. Hold on, I think Angie was just before you.
So you guys do allow CSA pickups at the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah, I think it's good for everybody. When people come and get their CSAs, they're getting exposed to other things at the market that they didn't see before, so, yeah.
Do you need a business license for Sedalia?
No, the
No.
city allows everybody to operate under our umbrella.
Okay.
So while you're vending at the market, you don't have to have a city license. Anything else? Okay, well, we're going to hang around for a little while, so if you have specific questions that you have of any of our board members, then feel free to ask. Thank you all so much for coming. We look forward to a great year.